And here's a video review I've also been looking forward to for a while now. This is the MattyCollector.com, the first in their Club Voltron subscription, Red Lion and Lance. Now, Red Lion and Lance is written on the box. This box is just Red Lion. Lance is packaged separately. I think you can only buy them as a set, but they do come in two separate boxes, which is kind of nice, actually. Although, again, I don't know why it says Red Lion and Lance on the white box when it just says Lance on the thing. It should say Red Lion, but that's nitpicking, because it really is a very cool collector's item. It's a neat toy, and we'll get to that in just a minute. We'll go ahead and slide. Well, actually, we can just leave that right back there. You'll see it is a very big white packing mailer box. And Red Lion is way bigger than I expected, even though I've been told to expect him. He's a 23-inch tall Voltron he's going to make. A lot bigger than I was expecting him to be, and very cool. We're going to focus on Lance here at first. One, I really like the packaging. I don't know if you can see it all that well on the camera, but like Voltron here is in its like multicolored, very sparkly. There's a word for it, and I can't think. Pearlescent, sparkly metallic logo, which is really cool. And it looks much more impressive in person. Although just looking at the camera, it looks like it's looking pretty good there too. And you can see here's Lance and his helmeted head and the lion key right here. And behind Lance is just the piece of the blazing sword. It comes in 5 pieces, and this is just the handle that's going to come with Lance. We'll go ahead and pop him out of the case here. And you just slide open the top, and he slides right out in his tray. Also, you can see on the back here, here's a picture of him with his helmeted head. The lion key doubles as a stand. It fits into the cockpit of Red Lion. It says Lance Pilots Red Lion, and there's a little bio about Red Lion and where they found him in the magma and all that stuff. And then here's a picture of the 5 pieces of blazing sword that will come with each of the pilots. And what comes with Red Lion is outlined here in red right at the bottom. It's just this blue handle piece right here. So there's the box. Inside is, like I said, a fairly simple, just cardboard tray with the blue sky here in the background. The sword handle for blazing sword. Lance with his helmeted head, and then the lion key. Let me pop all those out of here. And it's real easy. You can pop them out. You can. Otherwise, it just pop the tray out, slide the tray out, pop each piece out. Pop the helmeted head, and there you go. Put the tray back in. That's the tricky part. Just set that off to the side here. Let me get one of my Thundercats figures here just to do a size comparison here in a minute. But he's like a standard 3.75-inch figure, roughly G.I. Joe size, maybe a little smaller. But a really nice figure of Lance. They've got some nice posability. The shoulders are double jointed. The elbows are on a peg and hinge, so like they've got the hinge forward and back, but they also peg into the top, so you've got some lateral movement there as well. Again, same with the hips, and same with the knees. You can bend them at the knee a little bit. It's a little limited based on the cut there, but all in all, some decent posability, and just a nice-looking figure. And his head is on a ball joint here. It doesn't really have a whole lot of up and down movement just due to his hair, but a really cool figure of Lance. And again, you can pop his head off. Just pop it right off. There's a ball joint there, and take his helmeted head and plug it right on there. So, very cool there. And as I said, here's the lion key. It's just a sticker on a red plastic key. There is a little peg sticking up right here. You can peg his foot onto that and use the lion key as a stand for Lance. And I assume that'll be that way with all the figures. And then, of course, you have the giant sword handle for Voltron when it's time to do that. And then here's a standard. If you've seen the 4-inch Thundercats line in stores, there's Claudus with Lance, just to get an idea of the size. They're smallish figures, but very cool for their size, and it's going to be nice to have the whole Voltron force together. Now, they do have, in this set, Princess Allura is coming with Blue Lion, but if you signed up for the subscription, you get Sven as the club exclusive figure, which I'm really looking forward to because I liked him much better than the Princess. That's just me. So, have the true pilot of Blue Lion coming as an exclusive. Actually, I don't know why I popped his head back on it, because I just like to pop his head off. We'll leave his head on for Red Lion. But for now, we'll just set him off to the side along with all the pieces. Now, here's Red Lion in the mailer box. And again, standard white mailer box. All the background's falling down. Standard Matty mailer box with the Voltron logo, Defender of the Universe, Red Lion, and Lance. And you just get these tabs out. If I can get my finger here under this tab here. There we go. Yeah, typically you just untab the back of the box, open it, and then you slide, hold the tabs, slide the actual figure itself out of the box. Now he's a little messed up because he's normally strapped into the box and he's not, just moving him around. I tried to just set him back in there. There is a spacer. I think this is going to be the standard size shipping box for the figures, and since Red Lion is one of the smaller ones, there's a spacer that sits behind the box to help fill the space of the box. So, but yeah, other lions are going to be bigger, and like and even here on camera, you're not really getting a scale of how big this Red Lion is, but he's pretty massive considering he's the small. Like he and the Green Lion are the smallest of the Voltron bots. Now, there's tape all around here holding the box together, and here's a picture of Voltron combined on the back with most of it faded out, and then Red Lion here on the side with some action features. Lance fits inside of it. Your standard packaging. Now, like again, there's tape all around the sides, and you might think you want to slide it out. What you want to do is cut these two tape tabs and these two tape tabs, and then you just open up the top of the box like this, and that's what lets you take him out. And here is his little mouth weapon that is just taped in with a little piece of like rubber band, and you can just very easily slide that out, unhook it, and there's the little claw blade weapon. And there's two little divots here for his teeth, and we'll show you how he holds that in a minute. Now he's generally, like originally he's posed in here like this, leg down, kind of like that in the package. Oh, this tail out. Like that. He's moved a bit, again, since I undid the straps holding him down. But he looks packaged like that. Since I have cut the straps, and you'll see when I pop them out, instead of rubber bands or twist ties, there's like these little plastic strips that hold them in. Very easy to snip and release him from the package. And again, he's got the nice metallic Voltron logo here on the front. And package-wise, if you want to leave him in package, it looks very good with Lance on display. It's very neat. So the packaging we'll set off to the side. We don't really need that anymore. And we'll focus on Red Lion. Now, Red Lion, like I said, he's big. See if we can get him to stand here between his legs in the proper position. My daughter had him standing today in a position that made it look like he was a kitty cat trying to play. There we go. Now he's standing up. With there. And again, here is Lance. Right there, just to give you an idea. Here is a standard Thundercats figure, and then just to give you an idea in comparison to Transformers, here he is with Voyager Bulkhead. And now granted, Voyager Bulkhead does compact down into a fairly small car, but you can see he's a very large figure here. And one of the first, again, his mouth opens and closes, and again that's where these little indents on the blade are for, because he doesn't hold it. If you try to put it in his mouth like this, you can see it's very loose. But these are spaced just properly that they fit over his bottom teeth. And then you can close this up, and he can hold the weapon in his mouth. So that's pretty cool. Now, articulation-wise, he's got his head can rotate like this. The legs can be posed to some degree. There is a spring-loaded mechanism in them for transformation, and we'll show that off here in a minute. He does have a waist. You kind of turn him like this, and again, that's for the elbow in robot mode. And that's about it. Same on the back legs. There's a spring-loaded mechanism here, and then the tail. So there's not a whole lot of posability in it, but it looks like the cartoon. So it's a bit of a trade-off, and possibly had it been smaller, not incorporated the pilot gimmick and things like that, they may have been able to put a little bit more posability in it. But considering how big this Voltron's going to end up being, I don't mind the fact that they chose stability over gimmickry or some smaller tweaks. Like, I'd much rather have a giant stable Voltron that looks cool and is functional than have them risk trying to put in more swivels and joints and have it be a loose, floppy mess. But I think it's kind of cool to have him kind of have Red Lion pose with a little bit of a curve to him with Lance down next to him. I just think that's a neat display. So that's how they'll be displayed until I get the rest of Voltron and can put the whole thing together. Now, like I said, the cockpit does open. It doesn't spring open. It's a manual open thing, but it's locked. The cockpit opens up to the side, but you have to use the Lion key. You just plug it right in here, and then the cockpit opens up to the side over the legs, just like that. And you can actually take Lance and set him in the cockpit here to pilot Red Lion. You just close it up, and now he's in there, and you're good to go. Now, to transform him into the arm, it's very simple. You just want to lift up this red panel on the back, and you do have to get it from both sides. And then you just fold the tail up and in, close that up, and that'll hold the tail in place. And then you fold the legs up. They'll latch like that. You'll hear it click. Fold the foot up, and now it's not quite how in the show the foot would flip forward. It would kind of squat down on its haunches, and because of the spring-loaded mechanism, they had them flip up like this. And again, it's a minor concern. I know purists might get a little upset, and I've heard about people getting upset, but for the most part, it's not something that bothers me. And there you have it, and then you just flip this connector piece down. I push the button to launch his legs. And that's how he's going to plug into Voltron. That's where the arm's going to connect into Black Lion here. And I keep hitting this thing. One minor quirk about the spring, but when you see he can bend his arm. There he is in an arm mode. Here's the blazing sword. You open up his jaw. You can see there's a peg there on the sword handle that's going to peg right up here into the top of his mouth. Just peg that in, and eventually he'll hold the whole blazing sword, which, just based on the handle, looks like it's also going to be fairly humongous. So yeah, and there he is in arm mode. And then to transform him back into a lion, like I said, they've got a spring-loaded mechanism. You just want to straighten him out, flip up the, I push the button up there, flip up the connector. There's a button right here, an actual button, ha 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 ha, funny. But you push that down, and then straighten up his feet. And then same up here, there's a button here on his belly. You just push that down, and the legs come down. And you can have him stand. Just like that. And then you just, again, pop open this back panel, and the tail automatically springs out. And there is your Red Lion. And again, to get to Lance out, you just plug in the key. Kind of have to work on, there we go. Got to remember which side the latch is on to open it up with your hand while you're doing it. And then you just snap it back together. And you can put Lance on his Lion key. Come on, go on. There you go. Display them together like that. And then you've got the sword piece left over and a decapitated Lance head, which you can store somewhere for the time being. But there it is. There's the Red Lion from MattyCollector.com. I'm super stoked for the rest of the series. I can't wait to get yellow, blue, green, and black lions and hook them all together and display them. This thing's going to be almost as tall as Fort Max when it's done. Just going to be a giant, giant Voltron. And I think once we see this thing all put together, standing tall on our shelves, a lot of the minor nitpicks are going to be forgiven. Personally, I don't find a lot of issue with them. I understand why all the decisions were made that were made. In putting them together, it would be neat if you could just manually flip the legs up and down, because the springs do limit some of the poses you can put him in as a lion. But again, all things considered, a very, very minor complaint for what looks like it's going to be a really, really cool set when everything's all said and done. There it is, MattyCollector.com, Red Lion with Lance.